Right, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our Redeemer, and it is in His name, which is His authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect today's message. Amen. Welcome, everybody. How you doing? Hola, mi nombre es Kofi. ¿Cómo está? Bonjour, je m'appelle Kofi. Ça va? Ni hao, namaste, osayo, anikitawaya, ohio. I see you. Ako aba, itesin, habarigani, manut, kamsa, kamsamida. Jambo, mimi ni Kofi Nina Franco, Katana Wewe. Shabbat Shalom, Bakurta, Yastel, Kwam, Yastel, Tada. Barak Allah Cham Yahaba, Shalom Allah Cham Yahaba. Anai Kofi, Kohelet, servants of Christ, Mashalam Chi. Hello, everybody. I am Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servants of Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time, but being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. And we are appreciative of your presence. Thanks for spending some time with us here on this rising. We're thankful to have you guys on with this, and hopefully you were able to get something out of this as we continue this Balaam series. It will be a little shorter today than we normally go due to the fact that it is Saturday, and on Saturday we treat it as a Shabbat, whether it's the Shabbat on the Israelite calendar or not. Our Shabbat was actually yesterday, but we treat today as Shabbat, and so that's what we shall continue to do. And we're thankful and grateful to everybody who's on. We appreciate you, whether you're joining us on Facebook, YouTube, or TikTok. We thank you for being on today. Thank you for your prayers for us as a family as we continue to get better and recover. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for those who have already been asked to step up in different ways and those who are being asked to step up even more. So we appreciate you so very much. How's everybody doing? We give all honor once again to the Most High. We give all praise and honor to Him for my wife. The Honorable Maya, who lives life, is able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. And we're thankful and grateful for what she is doing to help the health of the diaspora. So thank you again for helping her in her endeavor and her calling to do so. The tincture of the month is still stinging nettle. If all works out well and everybody's feeling best, we should be able to still do our Shabbat Shalom, do our special session that she joins us for on the last Sunday of each month. So prayerfully, we shall be able to have that conversation with you guys on tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Patreon, Kingdom, those helping out YLP83, those that are doing many different things around the world. We appreciate you so very much. And we're thankful and grateful to you so very much for what it is that you are doing. Let me go ahead and say hello to everybody before we get into and dive right in, since we don't have as much time as we normally would. Let's say hello real quick. How you doing? Reginald, how you doing? Nietzsche or Mies, I'm still messing that name up. I apologize. Stephen, how you doing? Everybody, come on in. How you doing? Big Brother Thomas, Sister Lenora. I can't remember. Is that Sister Laura? I didn't mean to send the invite, by the way. I apologize. I was trying to scroll up. How you doing, Brother Anthony? How you doing, Sister Nadine? How you doing, Joseph? Miss Renaissance, Sage, Yahuwah be the truth, be King, Grand Rising to you. How you doing? Brother Eugene from the D in the house. Everybody who's coming on here, we appreciate you so very much. Today we're gonna we're stay up still in Balaam Doctrine. I was thinking we were gonna do Q&A today, but we'll probably hold that off until tomorrow. What I've been given for today is a simple theme called Get Low on Them. Get low on them. And when I say low, we're doing a little play on words, so to speak. It's a word that you see in King James Version a lot, but we're going to take the W off. And it's just going to be L-O, get low on them, right? Get low on them. And how you doing? I don't know if I'm going to say, is that shoot, that's funny? Is that what that's supposed to be? I think. How you doing? Thanks for being part of the community. So get low on them. That's what we're going to talk about today, get low on them. Now, this word low is an interesting word when you do the research on it. So it's low in English. It actually would be la in Avda, or what we would call Paleo Hebrew. How you doing, Sister Nadine? And this word translates to know, but it really means know this is what it actually means in the spirit, or this is the spiritual way to look at it. So it's a way of saying pay attention. It's a way of saying no. It also is a way of saying flip your mindset on this, right? Get low on them. And a lot of people aren't going to like what you have to say. And by the way, if you're just joining us for the first time, we have this series, Balaam Doctrine. This is like part 6, 7, something like that. So you can watch those on YouTube to catch up to see where we are. So if some of the things don't make sense, you can feel free to ask questions, of course. And even if you have questions in general, if you join us for the first time, we just ask that you be respectful. We try to give, we not try, we will give respect, because respect is not earned, respect is given. However, when people are disrespectful, you might not be able to be given the platform, so to speak, right? Because we have to make sure that this can be a platform that can be open. And as a reminder, and how you doing, Minister Shante? As a reminder to all, we will be having a SOC meeting, SOC community meeting, Zoom meeting for everybody today at 11 a.m. Eastern New York time. We're going to have this focus on the babies or the children, but everybody's invited. We're going to do a little bit of stuff that they can write out, or you can start to teach, or if you got grandbabies and you'd like to be able to teach them, or if you've never taken a Hebrew characters class, it'll be very basic stuff, but you'll at least be able to get a sense of how some of the language works. So if you haven't gotten the information on that yet, if you didn't get a Google Calendar invite yet, if you, for whatever reason, just want to ensure that you get the link, if you've ever even gotten from us before any SOC community meeting link, you can feel free to look that up. You can look on our main page just in case, because they try to take us down from time to time. And sometimes we lose a bunch of people when they take us down. The devil's very crafty. And so when they do that, just look up hashtag find Kofi, or if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube as well, if you're on Facebook, look in the description on how to reach out to us. If you're on TikTok, you can literally just look in the link, or I'm sorry, you can go to our main TikTok page. Rather, you can go to the main page real quick, click on the link tree, and be able to click on those things. I'll put up real quick if you want to take a screenshot before we jump in. If you want to take a screenshot of information to be able to text us or contact us, or what the stuff looks like. If you're on YouTube, once again, you can look at the description. If you're on Facebook, you can look at the description. If you're on TikTok, you can go to our main page, click on the link tree, or you can just write this information down, or just take a screenshot real quick. I'll leave it up just for a few more seconds. Then we got to dive right into this and get ready for the podcast. I'm out. So hopefully you got it. If not, it'll be back up at the end. So if you didn't get it, don't worry about it. But I give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and we'll go ahead. So thank you guys who are on. We appreciate you. As you can tell by the way, they've been trying their best to keep our numbers down. They don't let people know when we're going live anymore. That's okay, though. We're going to keep pressing. We're going to keep moving, and we're going to believe y'all for what it is. Thank you guys who share the live and all that stuff. Thank you for any gifts in advance. Thank you for anything you guys are doing behind the scenes, and we appreciate you. And maybe if you have people's contact information, because we do contact each other, we are family, we are united, make sure that you tell people. Like, hey, we're still on. Hey, yeah, they tried to cancel us. They tried to push us off. They tried to move us, but we still here. Okay, so feel free to let people know. Praise Yah. All righty. Getting into the series on Balaam Doctrine, we've been focusing in on Revelation chapter 2 and verse 14. We've been focusing in on Numbers 22, 23, 24. And even though Balaam seems to go away, we will get into chapter 25. Not so much today, but we'll be focusing mainly on Numbers 23 and Numbers 24 today. And what we want to talk about today in this series, but today specifically for you, once again, is get low on them. Now, remember this word low or la is literally how we would say no, but it's the way that we're saying no. Look at it this way, or no, this is spiritually what's supposed to happen, or no, you might think this is what you want, but this is what the Most High wants. Right, so get low on them, get la on them, get to a place where when somebody tries to tell you this is what it's supposed to be, you know your culture enough to flip that script, so to speak. How you doing, Sister Tracy? So, and thank you guys, everybody, for being on once again. So let's go ahead and get into this. Can everybody see us on TikTok, by the way? I just want to make sure, because I don't want to blame TikTok, or I don't want later on if I have to go to her and be like, why are you guys tripping and keeping our numbers down? I want to make sure that, first of all, it's not a signal issue. So can you guys hear me all right? All right, I just want to make sure I can see you guys responding, but I just want to make sure. So in case we have to go there, I'm not just blaming them for something that's not really there. How you doing, Deanie? Thanks for being on with us. How you doing, Aubrey? Thanks for being on. All righty. So in this Balaam doctrine, we talked about the donkey. We talked about people giving you a fraction of who you are. The devil doesn't try to give you something you're not. He tries to give you a fraction of who you are, get you to sign off or pay or get paid or get paid off, or to feel better about getting a little peace for the moment, but not getting peace eternally, right? Play on words, P-I-E-C-E for the moment, P-E-A-C-E for eternally, right? And so now, today, we want to talk about, and this leads us up to a place to where now we realize that the answer is la. The answer is low. The answer is no. The answer is not what you think it is. How you doing, Sister Monica? Right? The answer is not what you think it is. It's not what you claim it to be. Right? You try to declare hurt and pain and distress and sickness upon Yah's people, but it's not what you think it is. Right? Remember, Balaam Doctrine, we're dealing with Balak, who is with Midianites and others who have seen Yashrael in the wilderness. Yashrael is gaining momentum. They're gaining steam. They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're on their way to Canaan. People know what they've done to the Amalekites. They know what they've done to others. They know that Yashrael has been brought out of Kemet, and they know that they are coming upon the doorstep of becoming this great nation. And so out of fear, because even though Israel was never instructed to deal with the Midianites, out of fear, they still were trying to figure out ways to kill off Israel, right? How you doing, Alvis Vanessa? How you doing, Alvis Vanessa Alvis? Not sure, but thanks for being on, right? I know you've been on before. Thanks for being on again. So when we hear Balaam Doctrine, remember, doctrine is just anything that a group of people lift up that they say is their standard that they use to be able to get through from day to day, even if it's hyper theoretical. That's what doctrine is. It's just what people lift up as a group. Right? Like this would be considered doctrine. Why? Because we lift this up, we live out of it. We use this to be able to make sure that we know righteousness from foolishness, or from righteousness from wickedness, etc. Right? So you have doctrine, but then you also have Balaam. And Balaam is this prophet who it's known, just as Israel, Moses is known as doing what he's supposed to do. Balaam is known as being a servant of Yahweh as well, and known for what he's supposed to be, and known for what he's supposed to do, and known for who he is supposed to, how he's supposed to, be able to speak the word, right? And just like we're told in the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5, verses 10 through 12, that you need to realize that when people are trying to attack you, because you're using the word of the prophets and revile you, say all manner of evil against you, you should rejoice and be exceeding glad, because that's what happened to the prophets that came before us. Balaam is a prophet, and Balaam has been asked, right, that it's been requested upon him by Balak that if you would speak a word against Israel, like if you would come out of what Yahweh wants you to do, if you would come out of what you've been called to be, if you would come outside of what you've seen, if you would come outside of relationship, if you would come outside of the standard, that's what's being given, right? If you just would come out of this standard, if you would remove yourself from what you know you're supposed to do. How you doing, Brother Jared? If you would, or Gerard, excuse me, if you would do those things, right, then I'll go ahead and honor you. And a decision had to be made, as we talked about yesterday. Who will I honor? Will I honor the Most High? Will I honor this person over here who's saying they'll give me money? And money was his vice. He even almost gives up who he is and ends up almost dying on the way to receive the payment, right? But the donkey saves him, the donkey sees the angel he cannot see because he's blinded by what is in his life. He's blinded by what is his vice. So the donkey can see even what man cannot see, because the donkey has to be faithful to what he's called to be. Right? Yeah, it is too early to be disrespectful, but people do what they do. Praise Yah. And we're thankful for it once again. We rejoice, and we're exceeding glad when people say this stuff about us, because that's what they're supposed to do. So now here we get to a place to where Balaam has been told by the angel, go ahead and go, but you will only say what I tell you to say. Now we hit Numbers chapter 23. And I would invite you to read Numbers 23 and 24. What happens now at this point, right at the end of verse 22, Balaam has said, I've been instructed to come. I'm here now, right? I'm here now, but I can only tell you what I've been told by the Most High, right? So he says, build me. Now we're in Numbers 23. He says, build me 7 altars, right? How you doing, Yahuwah be the truth. He said, now build me 7 altars, right? So we can make 7 sacrifices. And once this is done, he says, I'm going to remove myself from you. I'm not going to make this decision with you. I know you're trying to be involved in this and do this, and people do this to you a lot. Hey, man, make sure I'm in a long decision making. Make sure I'm on this. Make sure I'm on that. Look, all I can tell you is this is what Yah said. Do what Yah said, build the altar, and then I'm going to separate myself. And I'm going to go to a high place. Right? How you doing, Brother Jermaine? And if you study what's going on, how you doing, Sister Kimberly? And if you study this scripture correctly, right, you'll actually find that they took them to the high places of Moab, of Midian, right? They took them to the high places where they were. They didn't go where, so they tried to take him outside of his comfort zone. They tried to take him to a place where he'd be pressured. It even says at the end of, it even says in chapter 22 that they took him, I said Numbers earlier, I'm sorry. No, yeah, I said Numbers 22. Okay. I was saying wrong. I was saying Samuel the other day. Numbers 22. At the end of Numbers 22, chapter 22, you'll see it says it even took him to the mouth of the people. It took him to where the people were the most. They took him where he would feel the most pressure. And remember, the whole time they're saying, hey, I've already given you these sheep, and I've already given you this, I've already given you all this stuff. I'm trying to show you, I'll honor you. I'll give you your pay. I'll give you what it is that you want. I'll give you what it is that you feel you need in your life. I'll give you the gold. I'll give you the silver. I'll give you the cash. I'll take care of this bill, right? A lot of us get in situations to where something that we feel we need, right? We want something for the fraction of who we are. We get a piece of what we need. How you doing, Minister Naya? Shabbat Shalom. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Bakat once again, right? And he says, so I'll give you, you've seen a little piece of what I can give you. I'm a king. I can give you this and that. But Balaam has decided to be about what the King of Kings wants. So he goes up and he has a conversation with the Most High, and he comes back down. And let's actually read that. We're going to go to Numbers 23. And let's read what happens when he comes down. Right? So he's gone up to this high place, and he hears. Right? And this is what happens, verse 4, when he meets the Most High. Numbers chapter 23, verse 4. If you want to go there, feel free to go there. If you once you have it, say amen, say I'm with you, say I got it, etc. Numbers chapter 23, verse 4. Amen. I mean, right, we're going to start Numbers 23, verse 4. All right, got an amen. Anybody else? Make sure everybody's with us as much as possible. Got another amen. Okay, we'll get one more amen, or I'm with you, or I'm listening, or whatever, and then we'll get started. Okay, I see another one. All righty, let's go ahead and get into this. So Numbers chapter 23 and verse 4 says this. How you doing, Sister Shima? It says, and Elohim met Balaam, and he said unto him, I have prepared 7 altars. All right, so this is Balaam talking to the Most High. He says, I prepared 7 altars, and I have offered upon every altar a bullock and a ram. And Yahweh put a word in Balaam's mouth. Right? Remember we talked about that with the sheep. I'm not going to hold back what he puts in my mouth. How you doing, babe? My wife is on the Honorable Maya. You can always check her out on TikTok, YouTube, or website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She is a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. How you doing, Dark Dog? So it says Yahweh put a word in Balaam's mouth and said, return unto Balak, and thus thou shalt speak. And he returned unto him, and lo, and Lot is not going to go the way that Balaam thought. No, get low on him, and low, right? And low, right? Humble yourself, get low on him, and do what you called to do, and only speak what you're given. Make of yourself no reputation, right? So, verse 6, and he returned unto him, and lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all the princes of Moab. So Balak is still standing there where they did the sacrifices, waiting to follow instruction. Remember, we told you, whatever you called to do, whoever you're called to be, whoever you're called to become, right? Don't change it once you get to the place. They hired you. They asked for you. They saw the gift in you. Don't change it up. All right. And he returned unto him, and lo, he stood by his burnt sacrifice, he and all the princes of Moab. Verse 7, and he took up his parable. So this is what Yah told Balaam to speak. And he took up his parable and said, Balak, the king of Moab, hath brought me from Aram out of the mountains of the east, saying, come, curse me, Jacob, or Jacob, and come, defy Israel. That's what you asked of me. You asked me to come with a doctrine. You asked me to come up with a doctrine that will curse, right? And this is why we're supposed to be careful about Balaam Doctrine. You asked me to have a doctrine that curses anybody that's come out of Jacob. And you've asked for me to defy, and you've asked me to defy Israel. So basically, Jacob is the man. Don't miss that. Jacob is the man. Jacob is the one who, was born with the name Jacob, meaning trickster. So you've asked me to curse this person as who they were, trickster, as who they were born in the flesh to be. And then even when they had the spiritual awakening and even would wrestle for the blessing that they have now, right, to keep it, you've asked for me to defy the blessing. That's what Balaam Doctrine is. Don't let anybody fool you. This is why they don't want you. They'll tell you, read New Testament, Revelation chapter 2, verse 14, but Revelation 2:14 tells you to go back to Old Testament and look at what that means, right? So when we go back here, let's be obedient. When somebody says, oh, you need to know New Testament, Old Testament doesn't matter, agree with them on part of that. Say, well, I'll listen to New Testament. New Testament tells me Revelation 2:14, be aware of Balaam Doctrine. Well, when I looked up Balaam Doctrine in Numbers 22, 23, 24, and even looked at some of the results of those who were disobedient, Numbers 25, I can see clearly that I need to be aware of what's going on. How you doing, Sister Irena? Right? So verse, excuse me. Yeah. So verse 7, he says, that's what you asked me to do, is to be disobedient and to come against the chosen people of Yahshua. And this is, by the way, even though he's a prophet, this is not an Israelite. So even the non-Israelite still should be aware of this. This is why they say don't read Old Testament. How you doing, Sister Dawn? Right? So he says, I came on here. Right? He said, I came like you asked. I went up. You almost got me with the money. But then verse 8, this is what he says. He said, how shall I curse? Elohim hath not cursed. How shall I curse who the Most High has not cursed? Or how shall I defy who Adon has not defied? How can I curse? I told you, I can only say what he told me to say. I was trying to figure it out, how to give you what you want. But look, I can only say my life is on the line. So I'm going to hold on to my life. I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to be obedient as the donkey was. And I'm going to hold on to my life. Right? How can I curse? How should I curse whom Elohim has not cursed? How should I defy whom Adon, who Yahweh hath not defied? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. Lo, get low, lo. This is not what you think it's about to be. I'm about to fix it for. I'm about to show you that you can't get what you want. Lo, the people shall dwell alone and shall not be reckoned among the nations. They are supposed to be separate and alone. They're not even coming for you. Why are you worried about this? How you doing, JC Rome? Grand rising to you, right? These people they're not even trying to do what you're trying to do, right? These people are what? They are supposed to separate. I'm not even saying segregate. They are supposed to separate. They should have something about them that is separate, that does not fit in, that makes it a peculiar people. Why are you tripping off of them? It's not what you think it is. Get low on them. Right? They don't want a reputation from you. They've made of themselves no reputation, so that the only reputation that's spoken over them is the one that the Most High will speak over them. How you doing, Queen Carol? Thanks for being on. Verse 10, who can count the dust of Jacob, or of Jacob, and the number of the fourth part of Israel? Who can count? Israel is about to be something that is like the stars of the sky. It's going to be like the sand of the sea. It's going to be like the dust of the ground. How you doing, Orphanite? Who can count them? How you doing, Chose Me 2025? How you doing? Right? Who can count the dust? If I were to pick up some dirt and I was start going like this and you see the dust, could you count the dust particles? He said, who can count a piece, a fourth part, a fraction of this? Let me die the death of the righteous and let my last end be like his. In other words, he said, Israel is promised they're going to continue to flourish. They're going to continue to multiply. He said, they're about to multiply and you can't stop it. He said, I can't stop it either. So I'll just go ahead and tell you that Israel is blessed. And if you kill me, I'd rather be killed and die righteously that I can inherit what Israel will inherit. This is what's going on. This is what's going on, right? Verse 11, and Balak said unto Balaam, what hast thou done unto me? I took thee to curse mine enemies, and behold, thou hast blessed them altogether. He said, hold up. I told you to curse them. And you came down with a blessing for him. But that's why he told him low. Get low on him. That's why he said low. Not what you think it is, bro. It's about to be reversed. He said, look, I didn't come here to do all the foolishness. I've come here to show you. I've come here to be a reminder to you. I've come here to let you know it's not going to go down the way that you think it is. I told you I can only do what I'm told to do. You got to get low on them. Humble yourself. Verse 12, but Balak answered and said, must I not take heed to speak that which Jehovah hath put in my mouth? I can't speak. Remember, we were talking about that the other day? Once again, here it comes up again. I'm only going to speak what he puts in my mouth. I'm going to speak everything he tells me, but only what he puts in me. I got to get it all out. So I'll give you everything he gives me, but I'm only going to give you what he told me. Verse 13, and Balak said unto him, come, I pray thee, with me unto another place. Let's go somewhere else. Fine. Maybe if we switch the position up. Maybe if I promise you from a different perspective. Maybe if I take you to another high mountain. Maybe if I take you somewhere else where we worship. How you doing, Brightmore? Maybe if I take you from this church service to that church service. Maybe if I give you this pastor that says it. Maybe if this person has this many degrees. I'm on. We can only be who Yah created us to be. Come on now, right? So he says, let's go somewhere else, right? From whence thou mayest see them. Thou shalt see but the utmost part of them. This word utmost is where he says he took them into the mouth, or it took him into the heart of the people. He took them to a place to where because this word can even mean the border of, but they were already doing this when you do the research and discover they already did this sacrifice on the border. So now he's taking them to another place. And this time he's like, let me put you in the midst of these people. Let me put more pressure on you. Let me take you to another place. And shalt not see them all, and curse me from thence, right? So let's see if you'll curse me when I put you in this different place. Because by blessing them, he's still taking this wrong. By blessing him, in his mind, right? And doesn't this sound similar to what we deal with today? In his mind, to bless Israel is to curse him, right? This is what we call, and I'm not here because the word Karen actually means grace, but a lot of Karens are not considered to be graceful, right? I have a cousin Karen, right? But we have this mindset that to where the Karen or the right wing or the left wing or the white woman or the person with a bad attitude or the man with a bad attitude, whatever, we have this attitude that these people just don't like you, blah, blah. But see, what happens in a lot of those moments is if you get a blessing, my problem is that if you get a blessing, it must mean I'm going to be cursed rather than celebrate my being blessed. For the longest time, it's been Israel, people of color, Black women, etc. They're supposed to be downtrodden. And that's how I get my success. So when I see you getting success, I start thinking in my mind, I start using this false equivalency. I have this false counter that starts moving down and counting down in my head saying, oh, if they're getting a blessing, it's only a matter of time. Some of y'all, you have family members that are doing well and you're saying, man, now they're doing better than me. Maybe I'm not doing something right. Maybe I'm not. Oh, that's Balaam Doctrine. This is why we got to get away from this doctrine. He is being moved because Israel is not supposed to have any part of them, as we'll see in Numbers 25 eventually when we get there. But Israel is not supposed to have any part of what's going on, because that's not our people. That's not our culture. We don't vibe like that. If they want to be grafted into what we do, that's cool. If not, hey, you do you, we'll do us. Right? So people, your family, this is why your family members act the way they do. Why does it seems like my own family hates me. They have it in their mindset, right? That you are being blessed. So in their mind, how they getting blessed and I'm not getting blessed. Rather than celebrate the blessing, get grafted into the blessing, support the blessing, because it's an overflow coming. If you see something on my life, then bless Yah for him blessing me, because and find a way to be grafted into it, connect to it. If you see my business doing well, find a way to do business with me. Don't fight with me. How you doing, Brother Terry? Yeah, it's ironic, but it's the truth. We're still dealing with the same thing, right? Like if you see me speaking the word and you're a preacher, don't be upset and say, like they did to the Messiah. Remember, Yahshua himself, he went to his own countrymen and he tried to preach the same word he preached to everybody, because everybody else loved it, but his own family members, his own countrymen, his own people were like, man, what makes him think that he's they didn't say what makes him think that he's right. The word said that they were astonished. They knew that everything he said was correct. Their problem was not whether what he said was correct or not. Their problem is how come that this is what they said. They said, how did he get this knowledge? Right? That's what's going on. How did he get this knowledge? Hey, how you doing, Sister Saul? Their problem with you is not that you get to use that you're not spitting facts. Their problem is, how come I seem to be cool, but they seem to be on fire? How come they're on fire? Rather than, hey, if you cold and I'm on fire, oh, come on, somebody. If I'm cool, right? Or if I'm cool and you on fire, the smartest thing for me to do is get near you. If I'm cold and freezing and you on fire, I need to get close to you. Why? Because then I won't be freezing anymore. My body temperature can come up. I can come out of some illnesses. I can stop dealing with sickness. I can stop dealing with disease. I can get my mind right. If my mind is firing on 1,000 and somebody else's mind is firing on 2, right? Have enough sense to say, hey, you know what? Let me go ahead and get close to the person that's on 1,000. If I see somebody out there who's making $10 million, right? And I want to be successful like they are. I've even thought about this, even though what I'm doing, I want to be able to learn and be better at doing some things around the home and stuff. There are people that I know who travel the country who have told me like, hey, you could be an apprentice if you want. And I've actually thought about it. Like when they come through town, maybe I'll ask them if they do in a home in one of the areas I happen to be in. We happen to be in the same place at the same time. Yo, can I just be an apprentice? You ain't got to pay me nothing. Your knowledge is enough. I'll pay whatever it takes. If I got to give you some stuff, if I got to pay you stuff to make sure you can give me the right construction gear or whatever, go ahead and do that, right? But being the apprentice to the master means at some point I'm going to learn from the master. So when somebody's upset with you or being who you're supposed to do, get low on them, low. I humble myself. La is not going to go the way you think it is. Don't come in here with that mindset, right? Don't come in here with their mindset. I can only give you what the Most High gives. And here's one of the things that happens too, right? I can only teach you how I'm called to teach. So when you're going to try to teach people, you must recognize a lot of them are going to be like, well, you didn't teach me this. You didn't do this the way I like to learn, the way this and that or whatever. You come into the master. The master is the one who sets the parameters. You said in your hometown they would dishonor. Yeah. The master is the one who sets the parameters. If I go to the Most High, and thank you for the love, if I go to the Most High, he's going to tell me this is how it works. Now, he will do what he can to meet me where I am, right? Don't get that twisted. I'm not saying don't humble yourself in your teaching, but hear what I'm saying. Like, ultimately what I'm trying to say, and ultimately what I'm being led to say is you got to recognize that if you're the master, then be the master. And if somebody can't handle your mastery of something, then they shouldn't be trying to be disciplined or be a disciple in it. That's not on you. So back to scripture, Numbers 23, now we're in verse 14. And he brought him into the field of Zophim to the top of Pisgah and built 7 altars again and offered a bullock and a ram on every altar. And he said unto Balak, and Balaam told Balak, stand here by the burnt offering while I meet yonder, or while I go meet Yahweh. And he said unto Balak, I'm sorry, verse 16, and Yahweh met Balaam and put a word in his mouth. Here you go again. Same thing. He gonna tell him what to say. You don't worry about it. You do what you told to do. You say what you're supposed to say. Get low on him, right? And he put a word in his mouth and said, go again unto Balak and say thus. So Balaam listened, verse 17. And when he came to him, when he went back to Balak, behold, pay attention, he stood by his burnt offering, and the princes of Moab with him. So Balak, once again, is sitting there in position, waiting on a word. He's hoping. He's ready to, he's sitting there. He's got all the princes. He's got all this stuff. He done brought him in a higher, or another high place. He done brought him further into his city. He's saying, look, man, see, this is what I can bless you with. Putting that pressure on him. And Balak said unto him, what hath Yahweh spoken? What hath Adon spoken? What hath the Lord spoken? How you doing, Sister Denise? Verse 18, and he took up his parable and said, rise up, Balak, and hear. Get up. Be ready. Present yourself. He's talking to Balak. This is the king. And he says, king, you need to rise up and you need to present yourself before the King of Kings. Your gift shall bring you before great men, but don't change who you are. Make of yourself no reputation. And people who have reputation don't like to be around people who have no reputation, because it's difficult. Because look, I'm a king. We're going to talk about this some more on the podcast. So I'm not going to get deep into this right now well, in just obedience, right? So we'll continue this going into the Shabbat Shalom service, right? But I need you to comprehend, like, there's a lot of people who don't like being around kings who are under the king. See, I'm a man of authority because I'm a man under authority. And just as Caesar, or just as the president of the United States will say to the general, go and do thus, and the general now has authority to be able to say and do thus, therefore he has authority because the president has told him to do thus. The same way that when the Most High speaks a word, I must speak the word, and therefore I only have authority in my life because I'm humble to the Most High. So since I'm nothing in the Most High's eyes, I have authority to others, right? And therefore, others who see that you have authority, they're waiting on you to just go ahead, because see, kings in the world, presidents in the world, mayors in the world, husbands in the world, right? And how you doing, King? Husbands in the world, this is what they do. Wives in the world, this is what they do. Basically, I'm the king of this castle. I'm the queen of this castle. Right? I'm the HNIC. Right? Ain't nobody doing this like me. I'm the one who's in charge of this. I'm over this command. Right? I wrote this book. I'm self-made. This is my company. This is my house. This is my land. You are my husband. You are my wife. So you will do as I say. But see, they don't like to get around people like us who humble ourselves. Thanks for the love and how you doing, Shoe Queen. Because when you humble yourself, they think that you're going to come in with the same mentality. But I'll go get my hands dirty because I'm nothing in the eyes of the Most High. Even though I know for real, I'm everything. But see, once again, I've made myself no reputation. I don't want to try and take him on. Like, people come on all the time. Well, what do you think about, they'll ask Christians, what do you think about LGBTQ+? What do you think about Muslims? What do you think about Christians? What do you think about that? And then what they want you to say is, what do you think about this person who killed this person? What do you think the Lord's going to do? What they're really asking you is, hey, man, who's going to heaven? Who's going to hell? Right? And they get flabbergasted because I tell them I don't have a heaven or hell to put nobody in. Well, what do you think about Hitler? I mean, I've studied Hitler quite a bit in my life. I can tell you all the things that he's done that are bad, this and that. Also, at the same time, I can tell you heaven and hell, as far as he's concerned. I mean, I can tell you in my flesh, my opinion, but at the end of the day, I don't make that call. What do you think about what they did to Emmett Till and all those people, and they deserve death, and so, at least from what I saw in a magazine or in an article, I don't know if it's true or not, but, supposedly the woman, that caused all this stuff with Emmett Till, and she supposedly died recently or something, and everybody celebrated. And I saw a post and it was like people clapping because she died. And you know what I was like? Hopefully she got herself together. See, forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is something because I don't want to not forgive them. And then let's say they do go to hell. I don't want to not forgive the person that didn't go to hell. And then because I couldn't forgive, I end up not being forgiven. So I end up in the same spot. Low, get low on them. You promise? Yeah, I thought for a while she was already dead too. Then apparently she had like the family had hidden it so well that basically came. Everybody just thought she was dead, but then apparently she was still alive. And then now supposedly she's dead again. So I don't really know. I'm just saying at the end of the day, I can't harbor the hatred. I can't harbor the ill will. Right? Like I know what she did is wrong. I know she's a great talking point. I know she's someone we can learn from. And look, at the end of the day, she might just because of the shame she had to live with for the rest of her life, she might comprehend and realize that what she did was wrong a long time ago. But she's trying to hide her face. She's like many of us have sinned and have done everything we can to make sure nobody knows about our sin. So I've learned to be empathetic. I've learned to be forgiving. It doesn't mean that I'm here to tell you that I agree with her act. It doesn't mean that if I saw her, that I might not even say like, hey, how do you feel about this? Like this is something that really messes with people. You might need to even give a testimony if you feel like you've changed this and that. But right, it doesn't mean that if somebody asked me about it, that I wouldn't tell you like, yeah, this is a problem. It's a microcosm. We still have people going on. Heck, people are still shooting Emmett Till's um, grave marker. They had to actually like people like if the people who live in Mississippi in that area where he was drowned, they have like how you have the markers, the historical markers. They put up historical markers and for fun, people in the area will come and shoot the marker. This has been happening for years, and they've had to replace it several times. And finally, they had to get it's like I don't know if it's granite or mark or something, but they had to create some kind of almost indestructible thing that's 500 pounds to make sure that people can't just keep desecrating it. Right. So I'll discuss that. Yeah, this is a problem. But at the end of the day, her salvation or her being saved, it's not on me. Right. And that's what we talk about, even with you guys remember this apologetic term, the burden of proof. The burden of proof is not on us. So let Yah prove her heart. Right. Let the people who shooting at the marker, I'm gonna let him deal with them. Now, if they come near my family or something, we got a different conversation. But once again, I'm separate from that. If I ever did go visit that spot in Mississippi, it would have to be very brief because I'm not even trying to be around that. Why would I bring my people and my family or tell them to go there? Right? I know it exists. I pray for the Till family that's still to this day, even for those who are generations who weren't alive at that time, right? Who were part of that family. I pray for them that they are healed and that because they're still probably going through because every time it's brought up for them, as much as we're speaking about it to try and learn from it, they're having an issue with it because that's somebody, that's somebody's uncle who never got to have children. That's somebody, brother who never had to have children or even see grandchildren like they get to see grandchildren. That's somebody's brother who that's somebody's you know what I'm saying, like it's so there's a lot of different things to it, but at the end of the day I have to learn how to not have hate all day because hate will eat you up. Yeah, continuing to kill somebody, so hate will eat you up. So all the hate groups, all the KKK members, all of the elites that go over there and do whatever and do rituals and all this stuff and have services and stuff like that over there, literally having services on somebody's grave, which shows you what they were doing when they were having the picnics where they would pick an N-word and rip the body apart and sell body parts and do all that stuff and eat people and stuff. Like that stuff is horrible. It is what it is, but I can't hold on to that all day. I just can't. If I do, it'll make me sick. And I got enough people already looking to me to be a foundation. You hear what I'm saying? I got enough family that's already waiting on me to make sure that I make correct decisions. I have enough cells in my body that are waiting for me to make sure that I stay stress free. I have enough stuff going on just trying to make sure I get all this word out that's been sitting in me and making me sick and it's doing some spiritual things to me that are manifesting the physical. I got enough stuff like that I don't need to put that on my back. Right? Low. It's not what you think it is. Get low and humble yourself. Yeah, that is an inheritance that won't be inherited for generations, right? But we can make sure that we separate ourselves And that those who even are of different diasporas, etc., that are grafted in, we set an environment, we set the tone. You are the teacher, you are the master. So master forgiveness, master love, master's only speaking what God tells you to speak. See, part of the problem is that we start going into our feelings and this person's terrible and look at what this person is and look at these racists here and look at these misogynists here and look at the patriarchy here and look at blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is real, right? But master staying in position. There ain't nothing like staying in position, right? Humble yourself. So back to Numbers chapter 23, verse 18. And he took up his parable and said, rise up, Balaam, and hear, hearken unto me, thou son of Zippor. Elohim is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Hath he said, and shall he not do it? Or hath he spoken and shall not make it constitutional, make it correct? He told you, in other words, he said what he said the first time, and you're trying to do this again. Stand up and listen, because the real king is speaking. You think you're the king, but the King of Kings is speaking. Behold, pay attention. I have received commandment to bless. I didn't receive commandment to curse. This is what I received. I already told you I'm willing to die for this. You still try to do this. But okay, fine. I will say it again. I have received commandment to bless, and he hath blessed, and I cannot reverse it. See, this part of the problem. I don't like the this and that, and they come up with all types of doctrine. Do you know some of the most popular preachers out there? This evangelical around here talking trash, talking about all Republican, or if you're not a Republican, if you're a Democrat, you are evil, you are wicked, you are this, preaching politics from the pulpit, right? When the only politics that matter are kingdom politics. Who cares if you're a Republican or a Democrat? You got churches up here where they're preaching Democratic rhetoric. Jamal Bryant down there. Yes, I bring him up again because you need to be aware of it, because this is stuff when you go to Georgia, when you go to Baltimore, when you go to places in between, when you go to the West Coast, when you watch on TV and they had whatever that show was with the 4 preachers and all them preachers doing all types of wild stuff behind the scenes. Not saying they don't have a gift to preach, but I'm just telling you, when you see this stuff affecting the airwaves, the devil is the prince of the air. You must recognize, you must see, like, hey, they're trying to reverse what Yah has spoken. They're trying to reverse what Yah has spoken. They're trying to reverse that thing. You said your wife was a Democrat, so was mine. I guess I was both at one point. I was Republican, then Democrat, I think. I think I did the Republican thing just to go against the grain. I did the Democrat thing just to say, well, I guess I'm black enough, right? But never really had any skin in the game. You hear what I'm saying? And this was one of the reasons why they try to hold back messages like this, right? But the devil, he can't stop it. As much as he would like to, he can't stop it. Because what he's trying to stop, because he knows that what Yah has spoken, he cannot reverse it. The prophet said, look, I shouldn't even came here in the first place. But now that I'm here, I'm not going to die. I'm only going to do what I'm told to do. I'm only going to do I'm only going to speak what I'm told to speak. And Yah said he's blessed it. What makes you think you can reverse this? Verse 21, he hath not beheld iniquity in Jacob, in Jacob, neither hath he seen perverseness in Yashta'al. Yahweh, his Elohim, is with him, is with Israel, and the shout or the shoot of a king, right? Or I'm sorry, I said it right, of a king is among them. He said, look, you keep asking for me to curse. See this, now you got to start asking yourself, why is Israel cursed? How you doing, Brother Vincent? How you doing, Pamela? Yeah. See, watch this. Why is Israel cursed? Here it says he couldn't curse Israel. If you want to get away from the curse, if you want to break the generational curse, listen up. It said that Yahweh looked. He said, I have not beheld, right? Because remember, behold means pay attention. So he said, I have paid attention and I can't pay attention to it. I can't see anything that I can say that's in Jacob that is iniquity, no sin. Neither have I seen perverseness in Israel. Perverted doesn't just mean like what we think of it as far as lust. Perverseness means you aiming at the target and you miss. You have perverted. You have missed the target. That's what sin is. How you doing, Sister Laura? Right? Sin is anything that causes us to miss the mark. He said, I have not beheld. He said, the Most High has looked, right? The Most High even took on what you asked. You asked, when you must comprehend, when you asked the prophet, when you asked Balaam, when you said to the prophet, hey, curse Israel for me. He said, what I did was I took that to the Lord. So when you ask me, you must realize you're asking the Lord. Yeah, we got to aim with purpose, right? And we have to choose not to sin, right? Amen, right? He says, so you asked this thing of me, and I told you I could only tell you what the Lord said. So I went to him and I said, and basically said, look, Balak is asking me to curse your people. What you want me to do? What you want me to say? And he actually didn't just take it and not listen. See, this is what I love about the Most High. This is why he's got to be the Most High and not me, because I wouldn't have done this. I would have just said, man, get out of my face. These are my chosen people. Right? I should kill you for even coming up here and asking me. Right? That'd be me in my little imperfect state trying to do. But Yahweh actually took on what was asked. He said, okay, this is what you want. Let me see if I'm even qualified to do so. The Most High has to follow his own qualifications. He has to follow his own law. So he said, okay, cool. That's what we're doing out here. No problem. Hold on a second. He said, let me check out Israel first. Before I say Israel can't be cursed, let me check them out first. Okay, I'm looking. I don't see any iniquity. I don't see any sin. All right, let me check and see. Oh, wait a minute. I don't see them perverted. I don't see them missing the mark. Oh, they seem to be on point. So he goes right back to the prophet. He says, I can't curse what doesn't deserve to be cursed. Amen. Yes, Yahweh is just. You don't just curse for no reason. You exactly when you realize the right way to do it, who can go against it? Yep. You go where he sends you, amen, right? So he says, look, how you doing, LaCrystal? He said, look, I can't. He said, I looked. He said, the Most High says, I looked and I can't find any sin. He says, go tell him, I can't find any sin. He said, and tell him that because I can't find any sin, tell him that the king, his presence is right there with him. He said, where there's no iniquity, he said, I'm right there with you. He said, where there's no being perverted, where there's no getting off the way, where there's no trying to make sure that you make this what you want it to be rather than what I told you to say in the first place. He said, I'm right there with you. He said, sound like a CIA invasion? Well, in this case, if the CIA is trying to invade, how they going to invade something when we don't pervert it? See, watch this. The only reason why CIA invasions work, my wife and I were talking about this with Africa yesterday. The only reason why these CIA invasions work is because they pay people, and these people are willing to go ahead and let their brothers, their right-hand men, right? Look up Sankara if you don't know who Sankara is, Sankara, right? It's his right-hand man who did that and then was in power for 40 years. And the parents of Sankara, and Sankara was somebody who was changing his country, changing his nation, doing all this great stuff, was putting hospitals and schools there. He was riding a bike rather than getting in the car because he wanted to show them they could do stuff. They tried to do the whole thing where they, make sure they can't trade with anybody else. He was like, who cares if we trade with anybody else? We can feed ourselves. We can clothe ourselves. We can build our own buildings. And if somebody was a trader, Sankara, he'd come after you now. He wasn't just going to let you be up in there. But they got to his right-hand man. They paid his right-hand man. It's Balaam Doctrine. They paid his right-hand man. Right. And when we were speaking, we were talking about the fact that when you deal with all these people, they always go after the right hand man. Look at what happened to Kwame Nkrumah. They paid his right hand man. Look at what happened to Lumumba. They paid his right hand man. They always get to somebody that's right there, right next to you. Balaam Doctrine. But see, Balaam made a decision. They're messing with our signal. Hold on one second. They messing with that signal. They don't like this word. They tried to get it where nobody was going to be on here. Now they couldn't stop people from getting on here, so now they're frustrated about the whole thing. Let's see what's going on now. Let's see. Now they're trying to give us no signal. Uh-oh. Y'all can still see us on Facebook and YouTube. It's interesting because I'm using the same signal we're using for that, but now they're saying they can't see us at all. Yeah, they trying to play with us. We're going to get this together, though. We're going to get this together. They ain't like that. Can anybody hear me on TikTok at all? I'm going to try and put it back on the regular signal, see what happens. Actually, I got another Wi-Fi. Let's see if that works. Because they've been messing with that one. This is crazy when you got to have 2-3 different signals to use. Wow. Oh, okay. Can y'all see me now on TikTok? We got to have like we got to have several signals just to be able to make sure we can do a live session. Can y'all see us okay? Yeah, they didn't like what we were talking about there, but that's real. Yeah, I know it was messing up. Thank you for coming on. Right, that's real. So you start talking about some real stuff. Balaam Doctrine, people don't like it. That's real. You start talking about some real stuff, and all of a sudden you got to figure out how do we keep these people down. We was getting up to where we had 1,200 people, 2 months ago? Ever since then, we've been going down in number. Not even 2 months ago. What was it, 2 weeks ago? They literally took down Kofi_43. We couldn't go live. Now a bunch of people don't even know we're coming live anymore because they made it where they can't see. I'm just trying to show you. See, you got to be ready spiritually. You got to be ready for the attack. You got to be ready for the attack. You have to be ready. You got to be ready. You got to be righteous. Right? Right? But they can't stop it. And this is the problem they have. They cannot stop it. This is the problem that they have. They cannot stop this. Yeah, thank you for doing so, Brother Vincent. Appreciate you, right? But you got to be ready. They can't stop. They want to. They always try to do it. Somebody, once they get in, and I've told you this before. We've had people who've been on here and come to find out they're Masons. You know, we've had people that come on here, come to find out they work for the government. You know, like, and you would think this is just nothing. You would think numbers wise, they block us. They don't let us get to the numbers. They don't ever let us get to the level of blue check marks. They try to cancel every single video that we put on here. I have to fight battles with TikTok legal and YouTube legal and all this stuff. And Facebook has taken us down from at one point we had 17,000 people on the page, and then we went from 17,000 page to where now maybe we get 10 people that even respond to something in a week. Right, but it's because you have something that's powerful. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for the power that's on your life? Don't be dismayed when people do this to you. It's Balaam Doctrine. They're supposed to come against you to try and knock you down. Right, verse 24. So I'm sorry. Numbers chapter 23. We're in verse 22 now. Elohim brought them out of Kemet. He hath as it were the strength of what they would call a unicorn. This would have been an animal that's actually extinct now, probably looks more like a rhino. So it says, Israel has the strength of a rhino. If you want to think of it that way, it wouldn't be the same exact creature we would call a rhino today. But nevertheless, that's what they would have been talking about here. You have the strength, they call it a unicorn in their culture. We would call this more like a rhino in our Afrocentric ways, right? They have the strength. Yeah, keep pushing. Be ready. That's right. Right? How you doing, one another? It said that they had the strength of a rhino. Now, you know something that's interesting about rhinos? Something that's really interesting about rhinos is that rhinos are blind. They're like legally, we would call them legally blind. They don't see that well. That's why, so rhinos, out of protection for themselves, come off aggressive to things that they can't recognize by either smell or sound. Did you hear that? Right? If rhinos are not used to you being in their environment, they seem aggressive. out of protection for themselves, especially if they have a calf. I believe that's what you would call a rhino offspring, a calf, right? And you come off aggressive to other people out of making sure that you protect your culture. Our sisters are always called aggressive, but they live in a place where their culture is never represented. They were always taught to be strong and independent. And by the way, when you make sure these sisters have to be strong and independent, what you're saying is that you're independent. You out there by yourself. So you call them aggressive, but they don't see how you see. They have a different sense. Some of them would even say that's their intuition. Okay, pure blood patriot. Thank you. Yeah. So going along with what we were talking about. Yeah, thank you. Right. How you doing, Sister Aliens? So you got to recognize that you'll say that she's aggressive, but in the environment she's in, she doesn't see how you're supposed to see, but also she has to protect herself and her calf. So if you come up on her the wrong way, she's ready to go to war. If you don't make sure that you present yourself in a manner that shows her that she can be secure and that she can have affection, she'll show up in a different place. You said you were on all platforms. Okay, thank you. Appreciate you. Thanks for looking out. I know you'd be on all of them for real, all the time. Thank you for looking out. Right. So it says Israel is like a rhino when it comes to the strength they have. Verse 23, surely there is no enchantment. Now we get into witchcraft. I couldn't use witchcraft if I wanted. You hear what I'm saying? There is no enchantment. Surely there's no enchantment against Jacob. Neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob, excuse me, and of Israel, what hath Elohim wrought? They see you making it. What shall we do about this? This is powerful. This is rhinoceros power. This is dunamis power. This is Holy Spirit power. This is something. I can't use any enchantment. I can't use any witchcraft. I'm trying to stop this girl. I'm trying to stop this boy. I don't even call him a man. I say, boy, do this. Boy, do that. Girl, make the food. I've tried to change up who they are. Hey, you can be a slave, that you could be black, that you could be freedman, that you could be a Negro, that you could be an African American. I've tried. Now you can't even be an African American. You got to be an American. I've tried to take away identity. I've tried to stop teaching who they are. I've tried to preach against who they are from pulpits. It's not working. They've got power. What is this that the Most High has brought? He's wrought. He's given us. Verse 24. Behold, pay attention. The people shall rise up as a great lion, and lift up himself as a young lion. Not just a great lion, a young lion in his prime. How you doing, Sister Mary? You about to be a lion in your prime. Can you imagine a lion in its prime with the power of a rhino? You know, a lion, as powerful as it is, you can't mess with a lion on your best day. 10 of y'all, 20 of us couldn't mess with a lion. Hand-to-hand combat, we would lose every time. But a lion can't even begin to mess with a rhino. Right? Have you ever seen like a rhino or a hippo? If you're not careful, you'll think a rhino or a hippo is fat because you see flesh moving around, or so you think. But really, if you look at it carefully, the flesh don't really move that much, because the rhino, the hippo, especially the hippo, I think the rhino falls in the same category. I know for a fact the hippo only has something like 2% body fat. So in your mind, you think that the hippo, but see, that's why the hippo's in the water, because if it was on ground the whole time, it would mess up his legs. Meanwhile, though, the hippo also doesn't swim. You know why the hippo can't swim? Because it's pure muscle. The hippo can't swim. So when you see, and you're like, man, that hippo in that video I saw, it was moving fast. No. The hippo's not moving. It's not, or you think say it was swimming fast. It wasn't swimming fast. It was moving fast. It has to push itself up off the ground. So it's so powerful that it literally is pushing itself up, and it sinks down extremely fast and pushes itself up so fast. It pushes itself through the water faster than some fish can swim through water. It pushes itself through the water faster sometimes than an alligator can get through water. Or I'm sorry, a crocodile can get through water. A lion with the power of a rhino, 98% muscle. Lions already can't mess with a rhino. He said that Israel is about to be like a lion that's in its prime, and at the same time, that's the power of a rhino. That lion is never going to lose its territory. You know, lions lose their territory, right? But that type of lion, if you got the power of a rhino, because you know, when we're talking about also the power of a rhino, you must comprehend lions can't just bite through rhinos like that. Like a lion can't just bite on the hide of a hippopotamus like that. A lion can't just go ahead. First of all, a rhino got that horn, got something for him, right? But secondly, you can't just bite through. They are tanks. You can't just shoot a tank with a regular bullet. Shoot a rhino with a 9mm. See what happens. That thing will laugh at you while it's goring you out. You are a lion with the power of a rhino. Come on, Israel. Come on, y'all stuff. Come on, those who are grafting. Come on, those who are followers of the way. Come on, kingdom sovereigns. You are a rhino with the power. I'm sorry, you are a lion, a young lion in its pride with the power of a rhino. They are afraid of you. They've never seen you. We've never seen such a thing. A lot of people don't even know the lion they're talking about is a Barbary lion. Barbary lions, now they're gone. They've been killed off. But a Barbary lion, look up a Barbary lion sometime. Go look up a documentary on a Barbary lion and see the difference between a Barbary lion and a lion. They are hoping and praying that one day they can find a Barbary lion still somewhere, or at least find one that they think has enough DNA to be able to do something with one day. Because a Barbary lion is no joke. When David said, I fought the lion and the bear, he wasn't talking about your average run-of-the-mill lion. And I'm talking about your average run-of-the-mill, not the one you see at the zoo, not even the one you see at the Serengeti. I'm talking about this lion was bigger and stronger and faster than the lions any lion you've ever seen with your eyes. Those lions had nothing for the Barbary lion. And you're about to be a young Barbary lion with the power of a rhinoceros. Matter of fact, not you about to be, you are. That's what it says here. All right, that's what it says here. So, verse 24. Behold, the people means nation, by the way. So the nation shall rise up as a great lion and lift himself up as a young lion, which, by the way, even is talking about the way he gives seed. He gonna give birth to these types of lions, and they are hungrier because the bigger a lion gets, the more food it needs, right? Which means the bigger a nation gets, the more food it needs, which means the more spiritual we become, even in the vastness of spirituality and eternity, the more spiritual food we're going to need, right? Come on, somebody. I wish we had more time today, right? Let me be obedient. And Balak said unto Balaam, and so he said, he should be like a young lion. He shall not lie down until he eat of the prey and drink the blood of the slain. Don't mess with this lion, because when he's told to move, when he has a threat to his territory, when the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, they try to bring violence upon the lion. This lion ain't going down. Verse 25, and Balak said unto Balaam, neither cursed him at all. Now he's in a place, look, man, I don't know what's going on here. Can you at least neither curse them at all, nor bless them at all? Can you just stop talking? Can you stop trying to get something? Can you just be silent? Maybe if you would be silent, because now you're blessing my enemy rather than cursing them. Can you just be silent? See, now Balaam Doctrine goes to a place to where we're in Numbers chapter 23. Now we're around verse 20. We just read verse 25. So now it gets to a place. Look, I'd rather you just can you just look? I tried to get you to curse Israel. You can't. Israel can't be cursed, right? They're coming out of the curse. They're going to the land of Canaan. It's our pleasure. They're getting to a position to where they have to be separate. They're going to Revelation chapter 12 mentality. They're going to get to a place to where they're in the wilderness, getting themselves ready to go into the New Jerusalem that's going to come down. The least we could do is just shut up. Doesn't that sound similar? Why are you talking about the past? Why are you always bringing up stuff that happened? If you would stop talking about it, then it wouldn't exist. Exactly. Yeah, you looked up the Barbary lion? I told you, right? When you look up the Barbary lion, it's a different type of lion. That ain't the same thing that they be teaching you about in school or in the books or the little things that we see, right? National Geographics and all that stuff. I don't even know what people watch now, right? BBC and all that stuff. But peep game. How you doing, Iska? Peep game, right? Peep game. He says, Amen. You are powerful. That's right. Watch it. He says, can you just stop talking about it? That's the same thing they say today. If you stop talking about it, it wouldn't exist. You are absolutely correct. That is what Balaam Doctrine is ultimately trying to do, is to destroy Israel, to make sure that what Israel is supposed to be doesn't exist. Did somebody catch it? If you read verse 24, I'm not going to go into verse 24 today. I'm sorry, chapter 24 today, right? But you'll see they repeat the same process again. And then you see that now he starts telling them, because you keep asking for Israel to be cursed, now y'all going to have to see some people lose. You're going to have to see some other people lose. You're going to have to see some other nations lose, because you keep trying to curse Israel, right? You could have just left it alone, like I told you, but you kept doing it. Now I got to speak curses, but not curses on Israel, curses on you. So feel free to check out Numbers 23 and 24. Probably on Monday, we'll end this series on Numbers 25. Right, and then do a Q&A, I guess, on Tuesday for Numbers 20, or just to end it out. We'll do a Q&A tomorrow. We'll do Numbers 25 probably on Monday, and it will probably do it, at least from what I'm seeing. And then on Tuesday, we'll try to close this out, with review / Q&A again. Right. But yeah, be careful what you speak. That's what happened with Kemet. By the way, remember, they said we were afraid of these people because of what happened to Kemet. Why? What happened to Kemet at the end? Kemet, what the Pharaoh pronounced upon the children of Israel, we ended up having blood that was put on the doorpost. The blood of the lamb separated us from the death. That the very the death angel was not released by the Most High. Get what I'm saying? I know that's the Most High's death angel. But hear what I'm saying? It really wasn't. The death angel was not really released by the Most High. The death angel was actually released. Hear what I'm saying? Come on, somebody. Hang in there with me. The death angel was not really released by the Most High. The death angel was actually released by Pharaoh, because Pharaoh kept speaking curses upon the people who all that was asked. The Most High didn't even initially ask for freedom for Israel. He said, we just want 2 to 3 weeks of freedom to worship the Most High. And then we might even come back. But let us worship the way we worship. We can't worship in your confines. We have to be separated and free, because worship separates us from others, and our worship frees us from others. So if our worship can only come from constraint, right? Because this is what people think law does. This is why people are afraid of the law. You think that following the law constrains you. But see, the law can only be really obtained properly anyways when you become free. So this is why you have to become a separate people. You have to be a holy nation. You have to be set apart. You have to be consecrated. You have to be a holy nation, a peculiar people, a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, to show forth the praises of the Most High. You can't even really praise him correct if your everyday is still connected to the foolishness of this system. We're not saying separate so that you can go ahead and say you're better. We're saying separate so that you can actually worship for the first time. Some of us have never had true and pure worship because we still do everything through somebody else's prism. How can you get the blessings of Passover, but you still do communion? Communion gives you a little juice cup, plastic, right? That's not even great for you, and gives you a little wafer. Some of them have yeast in them anyways. When if you do Passover correctly, 40 days before Passover, you are removing leaven from your home, reminding you that you were not supposed to have sin. You are then going to make sure in the midst of that you start your new year, right? And give Yah honor and glory. That 14 days after the new year, you're going to get into a place of where you're going to worship and have Passover, and you're going to make sure that you have a lamb, you're going to have the bitter herbs, you're going to have the matzah bread, you're going to have the wine, and you're going to be able to give Yah honor and praise. And then for 7 days after that, you're going to have the Feast of Unleavened Bread, to where you make sure that you start your year off reminding yourself to remove the leaven and remove the sin from your life, to be able to ensure that you can actually remind yourself of how the death angel had passed over you now, especially because Yahshua has died for you as a sacrificial lamb. And then you'll have a whole week to reflect on it. If you're going to try and put all that into a communion sip, a little sippy cup, right? A little sip of juice and a little piece of wafer, how in the world are you going to be free enough? This is why this is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, Paul, your New Testament, right? This is why many of you are asleep and are sick and are dying and are sickly, because you don't have the culture. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. This is what it says in the word. I didn't make this up. Read your Bible. It'll bless you. It's right in there. This is why many of you, how many of you? Many of you. A few of you, no, many of you. This is why a rack of y'all. This is why almost all y'all. This is why whole cities. This is why whole congregations. This is how you can have a football stadium full of people saying we praise God, and none of them know anything about Passover. And it's in the book. It's in the Bible. It's in your word. They keep trying to get us over and over again to get a fraction of what we're supposed to have. And then they tell you, oh, see, somebody hit me up, the fraction, right? They keep trying to get us a fraction of what we have. And they don't want you to be wholly. Stop giving me a fraction of what is holy. Come on. Stop giving me a fraction of what is holy. Revelation chapter 10 didn't say, hey, take the scroll, put it in your hand, take a little piece of it, taste it with your tongue, right? It's right at one point, yes, Psalm 34, verse 10, I believe. Oh, taste and see, just a little taste, just a little dab will do you in the beginning. But by the time we hit Revelation, eat the whole scroll. Stop playing with it. Anybody got a picky eater as a child? Anybody was a picky eater? I was never really a picky eater. I ate everything, but I was one of them children that didn't like stuff touching each other. I don't know what that was about. Now I'm cool with whatever. But I didn't want the bean juice. Don't let the bean juice, whether it's green beans or the brown beans or whatever, right? The baked beans, whatever. Like I didn't like the bean juice touching. You're like, don't touch the meat. I don't want that on the meat. I don't want that on the meat. But I would eat the whole thing, right? But my sister picky. I don't eat that. I don't blah blah, right? I got a child, picky. But at some point, it's like, hey, look, you're going to have some digestive issues if you don't eat the whole plate. Boy, you better eat it. At some point, you got to grow up. I was hungry. At some point, you got to grow up. And at some point, there were times, hey, okay, you're not going to eat the vegetables, no problem. You just ain't going to eat. And I tell my son, I'm like, man, you got a nice mom, you got a nice daddy, because I promise you, like your grandma, especially your great grandmama and them, they ain't play like that. I'm not saying all of them. I'm not gonna say all, but I had my maternal grandmother, Caribbean grandmother, she hook up the food and everything. But every once in a while, she give you something that you ain't want to eat. You better eat it. She done spent 4 hours today. I come from great grandmother when she would do the chicken and do the turkey, right? I don't even know if this is Jamaican or not. She just did this. I don't even know if this is a Jamaican dish. She just did it this way. She would take. I haven't seen this since. I haven't heard anybody do this. She would take the turkey or the chicken. I think normally the turkey, and she would literally do the whole. This is not healthy at all, by the way. She would take the whole turkey and put it in the oven and marinate that thing, right? But she would just put butter on it. Like she would just put butter on it over and over and over again. She would just put butter on it for hours and hours and hours, right? And then whatever else she did, I don't remember the rest. I just remember as a child, I found that interesting. She put butter on that thing, right? And she would prepare that thing for hours. I'm talking about Thanksgiving. I'm talking about just when we gonna eat. Whenever you're gonna eat, right? And by that time she was retired, right? So she had nothing but time. So she's just putting butter on that thing. And that thing is sitting there for hours, right? She's making the rice, basically, like you see it in the water, and you see how it's presented. And she ain't doing what a lot of people do. She sometimes had the stuff she's eating is growing in the yard. She just go out to the yard, pick it up, doing all this stuff. And then you're gonna tell her you ain't gonna eat. You gonna tell her you ain't gonna eat. We ain't got time for all that. You said your youngest is picky and don't like when they touching and will eat everything separate, all in one till it's gone to the next. Yeah, that used to be me, right? I used to eat a lot, but I would everything couldn't touch when I was a child. But they were like, hey, okay, if it ain't touching, whatever, but you're gonna eat it. And then I try to, oh well, the juice from this touch the juice from that. I don't know what to tell you, but we ain't throwing it away. You said, no matter if it took 5 minutes, you best eat it. Mm-hmm. Right. But now we're so used to, oh, what do you want? Okay, let's order this from here and let's order this from there. And I'll go here. And oh, you don't like that? Okay, no problem. Grandma will go to the store. She'll buy. No, eat the whole thing. And eat it all. And I need you to get this. I need you to see this word. Oh, you said your wife makes turkey like that? Okay, yeah. So I didn't know if that was. So I figured it's got to be. I don't know if it's Caribbean per se, Jamaican. I don't know. I just know. I don't even know if it might be African because she African descent too. But I just know that thing. That thing took forever. Yeah, Law of My Adam, the 42 Confessions. Yeah, thank you. Right. So that thing took forever. Right. So you ain't just gonna waste when somebody put. Because watch this. They put love into that. They respected you when they made that, right? They thought about, you know what, we haven't ate these type of vegetables in a while. I want to make sure everybody's digestion is okay. That's how we used to think about food. You're not just gonna throw this love away. So you think about, oh, I don't want to eat the food. No, I'm trying to show my son, like when somebody makes something for you, whether we paid for somebody to make it or whether we made it or whether you made it, whatever, right? I'm trying to show them like, you look, this is love. Love is an action. Right? This is love. This ain't just random. Somebody put time and soul into that. Yeah. Yeah. You remember the baster? Some of y'all still might use the baster, right? Somebody had to go in and take time out, once in a while, once every 30 minutes, once every 20 minutes, depending on what they're trying to do once an hour. I don't know how you make yours. But somebody had to take time and love and energy and had a mindset to make sure that this is for you. I'm doing this for you. How dare you turn this down? Yahweh keeps giving you more and more and more, and you keep turning it down. You got to ask yourself, but then you turn around and say, I love you. I love you. Oh, I mean, this these hard times, I prefer not to eat that. Come on, right? Somebody's going to challenge my being a man of y'all, my woman of y'all. Okay, I'd rather not. I love you, but and he's sitting up there like, you know how long in eternity I spent? Do you even know what that means? You know how many generations I had to figure stuff out with? You know how much your parents messed this up and I still figured out a way to make sure that you're going to get exactly what you're supposed to get? I'd rather not, this I know the aloe is great for me, but can I get the aloe that has the sugar and everything in it? Because I don't, it's just kind of plain tasting. I don't like the aftertaste. It's a little bitter. I'd rather not. You know how long it took me to create aloe? Come on. I would speak up for this, but my family, they into the church thing, and we do Thanksgiving, and I know Thanksgiving literally in Europe before it got changed in America. I know Thanksgiving literally used to mean a time of fasting, and I know that it's attached to killing off natives and even Negroes, because if you know what the term Negro means, they mixed Native Americans with Africans and just called them all Negro and threw them in a pot like it was jambalaya or something, right? But I'd rather, but it's my family. They're just meeting together. You know how long I've gotten you to a place where you could find. You know how long it's been since you even knew that Abraham Lincoln basically made up Thanksgiving for you. Hated himself. He was you. Hated you, and had he lived, wasn't going to let you be free. You know how long I worked to make that happen? Where you could just learn a piece of your story instead of everything that you get is his story. You know how long it was before I could finally reintroduce you to the Willie Lynch letter? But if I talk about that, my family, look, eat the whole thing and only give out what I tell you to give out. Only eat what I tell you to eat. Only dine with who I tell you to dine with. Look, you might be called to dine with the person who's against you. No problem, but do it when I tell you. Right? You might be told to make sure that you go to the White House and help somebody else, but do it if I tell you. See, this is the problem. Everybody, should this person have showed up with Donald Trump at the White House? Should this person have showed up with Donald Trump at the White House? Shouldn't this person have shown up? Like, do what I told you. If I told you to do it, make of yourself no reputation. You do what I say, and I will back you up. Remember, we talked about that with the donkey. The donkey spoke up, and the angel came and backed up what the donkey said. The donkey was just a donkey. And the donkey was being beat down because it was literally trying to save the life of the person riding it. And many people are riding us, but don't want to make sure. Everybody loves to ride you until it's time for you to do what's necessary to save their life. That's a word within itself. Those of you who've been part of this series, that's a word within itself, boy. Right? A lot of people like to ride you. A lot of people like to ride with you. A lot of people like to make sure that they're gonna help you out as best they can until it comes time to where I gotta take you off this road because you're gonna die. I can see something you can't see, right? And everybody want to run with you. Everybody want to talk great of you. Everybody want to do until it's time. That's that constituency, right? Because there's confidants, they're for you. There's constituents, they're for what you're for. There's comrades, they're against what you're against. And man, constituents, they seem like confidants. Confidants are people who are for you. Constituents, they're for what you're for. And it seems similar because man, you there, you at the house, you doing this, you doing that, but you're there. You even let me cry on your shoulder. But all of a sudden, when I say, hey, we got to stop going down this path, or else we're gonna die out here. Now all of a sudden you ain't rolling no more. But that's what they're supposed to do. This is Balaam Doctrine. This is why you're warned about it. Stop talking about revelation. Stop talking about revealed. Stop talking about New Testament, Old Testament, whatever. And you can't even follow some of the simplest of your doctrine. In your doctrine, it says specifically, stay away from this Balaam Doctrine. Obedience is everything. By the way, obedience over everything. Somebody knows what that is, right? Hallelujah. Move on. I'm not going to say it again because I might have said too much already. I don't want to give away your stuff, right? Obedience over everything. Oh, they might even take your class. I didn't realize. Not everyone is going to agree with how you move. That's why it's your walk. Exactly. It's your walk. I've learned. One thing I'm learning more and more as I keep going in this, and I have an environment that I have to be a leader over. Something I keep learning. Thank you for the love. Appreciate it. Right. One thing that I keep learning. One thing that I keep learning is that you can't make everybody like you. And how you doing? Will, stay safe. Thank you for being part of the community. I've learned I can't. I've tried. There's no way that everybody will be okay with it. By the way, there are decisions that are made that the fingers don't really comprehend what's going on the shoulder. But if there's something going on the shoulder, the fingers move as the arm moves, as the wrist is connected, right? As the hand is connected, the fingers move over to the shoulder, right? So the finger doesn't have to comprehend what's going on in the shoulder in order to move. See, there's going to be some stuff that you're going to get. I get this myself, right? Because I sit at the feet of others as well. Somebody might give you something. They might tell you, and some of you, I sit at your feet, right? You give me certain things and practical things and things to think about, to honor, to look at differently, et cetera, right? So we all sit at each other's feet. And in this community, I'm just telling you, you're going to have to be ready. In life, in general, you're going to have to be ready to be obedient to what's given to you. And sometimes you're not going to get a breakdown. Well, thank you for that, Sister Monica. I appreciate that. Yeah, you can't please everybody. And sometimes you're going to get an assignment from the Most High, and you're not going to get a breakdown. You're not going to have a chance, right? I've been in situations where it's a bad situation. Everybody got to go. I'm really great at direction because of being in the military and stuff and doing some things. I know, hey, when I come into a place, I know we came in this way. We made it right here. This is what we do this, blah, blah, this and that. I might not even know the fastest way to get there because I've never been in this mall, but I do know this is where everything is that we pass. I'm pretty decent at that, right? So if something happened and everything break down, guess what? We got to move. And I might, and if you with me during that time, I'm gonna say we got to go. And you say, well, I don't know, and let's look at the map. And blah. We ain't got time for that. I know where the stuff is coming from. I know that we need to go in the opposite direction. I know this is how we can go ahead and get there, and I know exactly where the vehicle is, so we can keep it moving. You coming or not? I wish I could break it down for you. I wish I could have a whole lot of time. I wish I could do this, do that, whatever. Right? But right now, we ain't got time for all that. So just talked about it yesterday. Can't know everything. Yeah, sometimes you're not gonna know, and that's okay. Matter of fact, sometimes it's the best place to be. I've said this before. I say it again. Then we gotta get ready to take our leave because we gotta get ready for the podcast. And those who are with us on on TikTok if you want to stick around for some more information on things we do outside of just this live session. If you'd like to be a part of them, feel free to stick around for a little bit with us. We appreciate your presence with us today. But yeah, sometimes the greatest stuff is when you don't know. And you know why? Because some of you would have never moved if it had been shown to you everything you would have had to go through to become who you are. Come on, come with me. Be silent to move hard and fast. Yeah, see, like some of you would have never moved had it been shown to you what it would have taken. Right? Some of y'all sisters, you couldn't wait to be a mother. And you would probably do it again, but hear what I'm saying. You couldn't wait to be a mother, but that gestational period is something else, ain't it? Right? And I'm not speaking from experience, but I've seen it enough times in life to be able to go, yeah, you wanted to be a mother, but that gestational period is something, ain't it? You got that shot in your spine, that drug you and the baby, and you were able to give birth, but that thing still hit different, don't it? Those of you who decide to do that natural birth, you glad that you did it. And you see a lot of things that happened that wouldn't have happened otherwise, but that thing hit different, don't it? Right? You're about to bear this thing, this fruit that's in you. You're about to give birth to something that's going to cause generations to never be the same again. You said your back's never been the same since. You know, like you're about to bear something that will cause the universe to never be the same again. But yeah, it's going to be challenging. And there's Balaam Doctrine out there to try and prevent you from becoming what you're supposed to become. Somebody sees that they can't stop it, and they're afraid that they don't stop you now. See, that's why we talked about earlier, don't settle for a fraction. And I mean earlier in the series, right? Don't settle for a fraction of who you are. Don't let somebody pay you in the now and give you a fraction of your value. Don't let somebody stop the business that, right? Your child has a business in them. Don't get your child so trained up that your child is ready to go to college, be in debt, do all this stuff, get a job for somebody else, and never start the business when you can start the business with them right now. They can get the EIN right now. You can start paying them a certain amount and only make sure they get paid a certain amount for the work that they do, and make sure that you actually can save that and it's tax-free. You can start doing that stuff right now. Put that LLC on them, put that trust on them, trust in your husband while putting the trust on your child, right? Because we only read one verse, Proverbs 22, verse 6, train up a child in the way that they should go, so when they grow old, they will not depart from it. However, don't forget the verse right behind it, verse 7, right? And train up the child, so both verses go together like this, train up a child in the way that they should go, so when they grow old, they will not depart from it. Why? And because the servant the servant will always be subservient to the lender. Therefore, make sure you train that child so they will not be a borrower, right? But they will be a lender. They can be a king who lends, right? You got to have something to lend. So make them already start realizing that they need to have something. And when they have something, put them in the mindset of lending while they're young. See, these babies are being taught to be selfish while not even having anything. Come on, but you got to shift this. See, this is Balaam Doctrine. They're already doing what they can to get your child in the mindset to have nothing and keep everything. But the reality is, for you to have something, you got to have something. And when you have something, lend it. This is one of the greatest financial things you can teach somebody, is that the richest people on the planet, they sow, whether you like the way they sow or not. The richest people on the planet, thank you, Ben. The richest people on the planet, they sow. They don't stop sowing. They sow and sow some more and sow some more, right? Even the people that are manipulating you and are taking your money and doing all types of manner of evil with it, they take your money, they still sow it. The bank that tells you not to get cryptocurrency, they got more cryptocurrency than y'all. They sow. What's that book, Rich Man, Poor Dad, or something like that? By Kiyosaki, Robert Kiyosaki, something like that. Forgive me for the name. I'm trying to name drop, give the book. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But look at the stuff that he teaches. He never spends his own money. He doesn't really have money, but he sows. He sows other people's money. Okay, but he's sowing. It's currency. It's current. It's got to flow. Rich dad, poor dad. Okay, thank you. Rich dad, poor dad. Thank you. He said people don't start companies and partnerships because they're afraid to lose money they don't have. There you go, right? By the way, remember, money's not real. All these people that you hear these stories, man, we started this company and this and that. There are very few of them that say, hey, I started this company because I had 200,000 in the bank. I had 10 million in the bank. I made a decision because I had 50 million. I had all the investors behind me. That's not how this stuff works. I had a vision. The vision paid off, not the money. But see, Balaam Doctrine, they're destroying. They teach you as a child to keep everything and to be selfish. But you need to start teaching your children how to have money, and then how to have money. Teach them that you don't make money, that money makes money. And you need to teach them to invest in things that are real. And then you need to give them extra surplus. And every time they have extra, which we would call the overflow, you need to make sure that they learn how to tithe. Get them 10 toys today from the Dollar Tree. And then take them to the street and find a child or find an adult. I promise you, an adult that's homeless. This will bless them. Now, pray about it for whoever this is for. This might not be for everybody. But take your child, take them to the Dollar Tree, buy 10 toys. Take those 10 toys, take it to the house. Let them see all the 10 toys. Ask the child, what is your favorite toy out of what we just got? Take that one toy that is their favorite, because that's the first fruit. Tithe it. Take it to the street. And even if you can't find a homeless child, or even if you can't find a child at the playground, right? Be there to protect your child, by the way. Walk up to a homeless person who would love to be able to be treated like a human being, and children, let alone adults, but children are always afraid of them because they've been taught by adults to be afraid of them. And let your child walk up to them and say, I'm sorry, I don't have any money. Can I give you this toy? See what that does. How you doing, Sister Devin? See what that does. Run tell that. Run teach that. That they would teach them to have and then sow. Get yourself 10 pairs of shoes. Pay less ain't still a thing, but whatever. Get yourself, because some of y'all be doing it anyways. So when you get yourself 10 pairs of shoes, the next 10 pairs of shoes that you get, right? The next 10 dresses you get, $5 dress, $8 dresses y'all get. You go on the shopping spree, $200 at the Goodwill, wherever you go. Next 10 dresses that you get, look them over and be honest. Don't be dishonest, because y'all knows your heart. And look at them and say, okay, out of these 10, which one would, that one, I would really wear that one. Or ask your husband, or ask your friend, or ask your children, whatever. Hey, which one of these you think looks best on mom? Which one you think looks best on your wife? I think that one looks really beautiful on you. Okay, find somebody and give it to them. Learn to have so that you might give. And then watch this. I promise you this was going to happen. Watch, all of a sudden, you were given because you gave. Test this and see. The Bible says, try me and see. Test me and see if I won't open up the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing. Y'all ain't ready to see. That's how we roll. Get your next $10 that you get. Ask somebody if you get a chance. Go to the store, buy something somewhere, and say, hey, is it possible for me? I'm just buying this. Take a 20, get you a piece of bubble gum, and say, hey, I really just want to see if I can get 10 singles. Can you give me 10 singles back? Can you give me a 5 and then the rest are singles? Yes, I can do that. And if you can't get it from the first store, go to a store that can give you that. And when you get that, then say, okay, cool. Look at all the dollar bills. Which one looks best to you? Which one looks the cleanest? Which one's the freshest? Which one has the least wrinkles? Which one appeals to you? Okay, out of this one, I'm going to take this one, and that's going to be the one I give somebody on the street. Or that's the one I sow into my child. Come here, baby boy. Come here, baby girl. Give it to the 2-year-old, the 3-year-old. Watch how excited they are because you gave them $1. See, you be stressing over dollars, and you've been taught to be so stressed over the dollar that you can't even give $1. spend your money just to have $1 to give, and then give it to a child that will honor it and cherish it without having all the stresses and the pains, and they haven't learned that money's real yet, and they don't care about all that stuff. And watch how much you're blessed by just seeing the reaction of somebody you give the $1 to. I don't know who this is for. Whoever this is for, pray about it. This might not be for everybody. I'm just saying. And I know some of y'all are givers. I know some of y'all heard. I talked to y'all. I've seen y'all. Some of y'all has blessed my family. Some of you have blessed SOC members beyond measure. Right? I'm in tune enough. I'm not always around as much as I need to be because I'm just one person. But I promise you, I get enough reports, or I see it, or somebody tells me about you guys helping and stuff like that. It pops up. And so I promise you, I know some of the stuff that y'all don't even think I know that y'all give. And I've seen people ask on here over and over and over again, once every couple months, just about now, where somebody really, 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 really needs some help. And all I do is mention it. And before I know it, y'all giving and giving and giving and giving. So I appreciate you. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying SOC doesn't give. I just want you to know, don't let that Balaam Doctrine creep in to where you're so worried about being paid a fraction of who you are, or just keeping a fraction. See, even when you're worried about tithing your time and your energy and your effort and the food you can give somebody and the gifts you can give somebody and all these things you're worried about, and the extra you can give to your husband, the extra you can give to your spouse, going that extra mile to make somebody feel great, get the extra you can give to your parent, the extra you can give to the person who didn't show you love, but you still gonna go out your way to give them extra. You're so busy trying to hold on to the fraction. Give it up. Give them the best when they give you the worst. And see what happens. Yahweh says, test me. Ravak Haggadah is here. She said, test me, try me and see. Yahshua's blood is covering you. Test and see. I'll even put my little no reputation having self on the line, right? If you follow the will of Yah in this in your life, especially if this is speaking to you, you know this is for you, and you follow this and you are not blessed by it, feel free to come on the live session and tell everybody that I'm alive. Feel free. Now, there were specifics given out. Don't just go out and do whatever you feel like doing. Right? Balaam had enough sense to say, hey, I could only do what was said. I could only do it. So reading your scripture, first of all, study it. Show yourself approved. We say this every day. Don't just listen to the word, study it and meditate on it so you can be hearers and doers simultaneously, that you can be obedient, that you can be a workman, that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth, right? Don't just do it randomly, right? See if what I said is true, first off. And if you know it to be true, once you know it to be true, give it to the Yahweh and see if he okayed it in your life. And if he okays it, if it's true, then work it and don't be ashamed, and rightly divide the word of truth, and watch it not be vanity. That's the next verse that we don't even go into. Watch that it's not vanity, but this thing is designed to not be empty, but to fulfill. Hallelujah. All right, we've gone over. We got to get ready for Shabbat Shalom service. I'll be the one speaking tonight. Speaking today on that anyways. So please be with us. We hope to hear from you. Also, don't forget, so that'll be at 10 a.m. Eastern New York time in a matter of minutes. Oh, wow. Thank you. I've never seen that one before. Cool. Thank you, Neuropath. That's awesome. I like that one. That one brings joy to my soul. I like that. If you're on TikTok, stick around just for a hot second. We're going to make sure that we give you information if you want more information on what we do. Thank you, babe. I appreciate you so much, and I love you so much. And continue to pray for my wife. Continue to pray for our family as we continue to be healed, and make sure that we keep emptying ourselves so that there's not going to be any of this foolishness going around here. We're going to keep praying this thing off of us. We pray Yahweh be with you all. Thank you for being on with us again. Thank you for journeying with us. They are making it very difficult for people to find us, but that's why we put that thing on there, hashtag find Kofi. And as the hashtag SOC continues to grow, we'll have that as a brand, hopefully soon too. Continue to pray for a lot of different things that are going on. Pray for Minister Sharon. Still pray for Sister Deja. Pray for Sister Deborah. Pray for Sister Elion and her family. Pray for, I'm just going off of where I'm being led. Pray for Brother Vincent and his family. Pray for, please charge it to my head, not to my heart. I'm just going off of what I'm being led. Pray for business, time to move. Pray for obedience. Pray for, Keep Sister Beverly in prayer. I don't even know. I'm not even looking for people. I'm just trying to be obedient. Yeah, I think so. And just pray for one another. Pray for one another. Pray for Miss Pierce. Pray for one another. Right. Pray for one another. I'm on. All right. Thank you all so much. Thank you for being on. We appreciate you. We're going to get ready to go take our lead. We're going to do our shout out. If you're on TikTok, if you've never done a shout out with us, we'll tell you how that works in literally just a few seconds. So thank you everybody for being on. If you've been with us on YouTube, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, we appreciate your presence today. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And once again, as always, check out my wife, the Honorable Maya, on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish. Not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. She's a healer, herbalist, chemist, and biologist by degree. Also, we thank everybody for being on today. Don't forget that right after the podcast at 11 a.m. Eastern New York time, that's going to be 10 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Mountain, and 8 a.m. Pacific time. Please don't forget, family, that we are going to be having a Zoom meeting and it's going to be for everybody, but we're going to be focused on the alphabet. But we'd like to be able to have children to be able to participate. We're going to do some stuff for them to be able to write out some things, and hopefully that'll be something that gets their interest, and also that'll lead us into next week, where we're going to start doing the stuff regularly for those that are doing homeschooling. We don't know if it'll be like a Shabbat school or kind of like a Sunday schoolish type thing. We're just saying it because of the days. We don't know which day it'll be on yet, but we hope to start that next weekend. So you guys, please join us for that, no matter what age. But if you have children, if you have people you'd like to share the link with, it's the SOC community meeting Zoom link that we sent out to you guys tons of times before. If you don't have it, text us, email us. I'll try my best to look at it before 11. We'll probably only go to about 10:30 on Shabbat Shalom service. So that'll leave you guys about 30 minutes if you'd like to be able to look up stuff for that. And we'll have something specifically just for them. And once again, everybody's invited, but if you'd like to have some of the babies come on, or maybe write some stuff down that you can teach to your babies, grandbabies, things like that. And when I say the babies of all ages, I don't care if they drooling still, I don't care if they're toddling, I don't care if they're preteens, I don't care if they're teenagers. Have them come on. Love to hear from them. And even if they have any questions, by the way, let them come on and let them be with the Most High, or let them be what the Most High wants them to be. Let them become. All righty. So hopefully we'll hear from them. We thank y'all. We appreciate you. Don't forget to pray for one another. Those who have Black's Law Dictionary 1 tonight, I'll see you guys at 9 p.m. Those of you who had the classes that I was down for this week, just look for those recordings if you haven't already seen them pop up. Thank you guys so much. We honor you. We appreciate you. We appreciate the King, Queen, and each and every one of you. As always, it's been Pastor Kofi. I'm sorry. And please check out my wife, the Honorable Maya, on TikTok, YouTube, website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A&D, the letter N, Bloom and Flourish, the healer, herbalist, chemist, biologist by degree. Okay, I think I hit everything. So thank you guys for being on. We'll see you guys tomorrow right here again for the live session, 8 a.m. Eastern New York time. And thanks for being on. As always, just remember that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, in you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Shabbat shalom. Peace to everybody. Those of you who are still on with us on TikTok, this is how this is going to work. If you've never